was a big Nirvana fan growing up. Nevermind was the first album I bought at the age of 10, and it made a big impression on me. And in Kurt Cobain, I found a kind of musical hero who sounded like how I felt. Since then, music has been a sort of lifeline for me whenever things get difficult. Nirvana's music inspired me to form my own band and start writing my own songs. I spent my teenage years, and most of my early adulthood, wanting and expecting to be a rock star, convinced this was my destiny and what I needed in my life to be happy. Kurt also dreamt of these things growing up, and for him, they became a reality. But in the end, the fame and success didn't help him find what he was looking for in his life. At the age of 27, and at the peak of his career, he killed himself, leaving behind a wife, a young daughter, and millions of Nirvana fans. On my 30th birthday, 3 years older than Kurt would have been when he died, I found myself thinking about him and wondering where he might possibly be now had his life met a different fate. I travelled to Seattle to find out more about the man behind the death rocker image and the press articles you read, and to see if I could get to know and understand his life a little bit more. Kurt's hometown of Aberdeen is located off of Interstate 5, about 100 miles southwest of Seattle. I drove down to Aberdeen in the early morning with just a notebook and a camera, and the hope I might be able to find someone who could point me in the right direction. Kurt grew up in this house at 1210 East 1st Street. His bedroom window was the one above the front door. The house has been unoccupied for years. 2 blocks away from Kurt's childhood home is the Young Street Bridge. This is immortalised in the song Something in the Way. Kurt claims to have slept under here during particularly bleak times in his life. I went to visit the bridge, which is now a memorial for Kurt and receives thousands of visitors each year. There I met Max Tracy, a young man who lives on the street behind Kurt's old house. Max told me he never left Aberdeen in his life. You must meet loads of people that come here like me who are just doing...
I've met that dude that I was just walking with, he's from Massachusetts. I've met people from Japan, Italy, Germany, France, all over the world. People come here. And when they come here, their faces just get crushed because they see needles and drugs and homeless people and people starving. And I mean, it's just, this isn't what they expected to come see, but this is reality.
Yeah.
This is where he came from.
What do people think of Kurt Cobain around here?
That they don't really think much of him. I hear most people talk bad about him, but none of them know him. My whole generation's so messed up on drugs.
Aberdeen seems to have a difficult relationship with its most famous son. I found it strange there wasn't more commemorating his memory in the town in which he grew up. I went to visit Don, who runs a Star Wars souvenir store and who set up the Kurt Cobain Information Centre. Are you ready?
Yep.
In his shop, Don has a variety of Kurt and Nirvana memorabilia for sale. He also gives out maps for Nirvana fans, highlighting places related to Kurt and his life. I asked him why Kurt wasn't particularly celebrated in Aberdeen, and why his memory felt muted in the town. Some of the places relating to Kurt's life were long gone, and others seemed frozen in time. According to local residents, the house he grew up in is unchanged since the days he lived there. His graffiti and a hole he punched in his bedroom wall still remain. This used to be the Roosevelt Music Centre, where Kurt bought his first guitar. Today it's a Christian centre, sat between a sex shop and a loan shark. Kurt also spent time here in Montesano, a smaller logging town about 10 miles away from Aberdeen. This is the house he lived in, which is currently empty too. He played one of his first shows in this parking lot behind a grocery store and a bowling alley. I spoke to the store manager who employed Kurt as a handyman during the school holidays when he was a teenager. He said Kurt painted the back room in the store, and after he became famous, fans would try and peel bits of paintwork off the wall to take as souvenirs. Many of us experience working a mundane job in our lives. However, it's strange to think, before Nirvana made it big, Kurt would take the 40-minute bus ride from Aberdeen to Ocean Shores, where he worked as a janitor at a holiday resort. One of his duties was to clean out the fireplaces and guest rooms, but seeing as most people didn't use these, he said he spent a lot of time hiding in rooms throughout the hotel, either sleeping or watching TV. Apparently Kurt found a lot of inspiration here in the town of Olympia, where he lived with his girlfriend, Tracy Miranda. Olympia has a large community of musicians and artists, and exudes a lighter, more relaxed atmosphere than Kurt's hometown 50 miles away. Kurt said he felt relieved when he moved here, saying he experienced culture for the first time. This is the house where Kurt would write many of Nirvana's most famous songs. These would help propel him towards that dream of rock stardom. This is Seattle, the major city in Washington state, known as the birthplace of grunge, and is where Nirvana established themselves. The more I learnt about Kurt and his life through the people that knew him and the places that he spent time in, the more I got the impression he was a particularly sensitive and vulnerable character, with a personality incompatible with a life in the unforgiving limelight. The last stop on my tour was Lake Washington Boulevard and the mansion house where Kurt took his own life. when I got back to Seattle, I found myself reflecting on my trip from the rundown streets of Aberdeen to the mansion in the wealthy neighbourhood of Lake Washington where he killed himself. For the first time, I felt like I knew him a little bit more as a person, as opposed to the two-dimensional rockstar character who I perceived him to be when I was a kid. As my trip came to a close, I felt a sadness when I thought about the fact Kurt never got to see his daughter on her first day of school, or didn't get the chance to celebrate his own 30th birthday. Even though Kurt's life was short, his music continues to live on, helping others navigate their way through difficult times in their own lives, and inspiring younger generations of budding musicians